Week 10 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few tight ends I look to get off the waiver wire this week. The first guy, Keke Coutee of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Keke Coutee, we saw some big games out of him last season in his rookie year with Tom Brady, and now best game of his career in Week 9 at the Texans. 6 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble loss. So Keke Coutee, a big target. Obviously, he goes out there and make plays, and he's been a pretty solid tight end for the most part this season. I know he's not had the monster games, but he's had at least 5 games with 8 or more fantasy points, is Keke Coutee. So right now, him and Baker Mayfield are building a good rapport. A lot of defenses obviously rolling coverage to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And the middle of the field is open, and we know Baker's had a decent track record with tight ends throughout his career. So right now, after the breakout game, he's definitely a top pickup off the wire at the tight end position, is Keke Coutee. And it wouldn't be surprising me if he could finish the season within the top 12 of the positions. He's available right now 95% of fantasy leagues. The next tight end is Jonnu Smith of the Atlanta Falcons. So Jonnu Smith, it's been a solid season for him as well. And he's outplayed Kyle Pitts this year as Jonnu Smith. So week 7 and 8, he had bad games where a lot of fantasy owners dropped him to the waiver wire. Right now, he's out there in 72% of fantasy leagues. But week 9, a great game for him. 5 catches, 100 yards. And he found the end zone. He took a screen to the house for 50 yards in that game. So week 10, a pretty good matchup at the Arizona Cardinals. We know their defense don't really stop anyone. And we just saw David Njoku score a touchdown as well at the tight end position. So right now, Jonnu Smith, like I said, he's having a great season. He had 2 bad weeks in week 7 and 8. And week 9, a big bounce back game where he put up numbers. So right now, with a tight end coming off a 100-yard game, he's definitely someone for fantasy owners to go out to the wire and pick up this week. The next tight end is Luke Musgrave of the Green Bay Packers. So Luke Musgrave, it's been an up-and-down rookie season here for him so far. And we know this passing game over there in Green Bay, it's just been a weird one. Some good games this season and some bad games. Musgrave coming off one of the better games of his career. 3 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. So Musgrave, we know he's a big target. We know this is young offense over there for Jordan Love in this Green Bay Packer team. But right now, Musgrave, he's getting plays, and he's had a couple good games and a couple bad games as well. And that's what you expect from a rookie. So right now, he's available in tons of fantasy leagues at 78%. Maybe he's going to get more of an expanded role in this offense. Christian Watson once again left this game with a possible concussion, and he just hasn't gotten anything going this season as Watson. So right now, Musgrave, he's going to move up in the pecking order in targets, obviously, if Christian Watson is going to miss any time. So with a decent matchup coming up, Week 10 at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you need a tight end with Dallas Goedert hurt, and he's on bye as well. And just saw the tight end's not performing that great this season. I will give Musgrave an ad this week. Next tight end's Hunter Henry of the New England Patriots. So Hunter Henry, it's been an up-and-down year for him, no doubt about it. Coming out of the gate, he had 3 good games out of the first 4, putting up numbers. And in the last few weeks, we didn't see much from Henry until Week 9 versus the Commanders. 4 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. So right now, obviously, with Kendrick Bourne out for the season, I think more targets could go this way here for Hunter Henry. Demario Douglas looked good as well in this offense, and Juju Smith-Schuster made a few plays in that game. But right now, Hunter Henry and Mac Jones have had a good rapport over the last few seasons since Henry signed is a free agent. So right now, he's available still in tons of fantasy leagues here at 62%. We know he's a big target. We know he's probably number 2 in that passing game right now. Behind Douglas is Hunter Henry, and he's got a decent matchup versus the Indianapolis Colts that give up the 16th most fantasy points to tight ends in the season here. So right now, if you need a tight end, I would give him an ad this week. In the 5th and final tight end, I looked at it off the wires. Daniel Bellinger of the New York Giants. So we know Darren Waller was out with a hamstring injury, and they're going to miss several weeks. And Daniel Bellinger, he had a decent game as the starter at the Raiders. 3 catches, 43 yards. I know tight end's not a great position this season. Once again, a lot of up and down plays. Some weeks guys are breaking out, and some weeks you're going to get 7 to 9 fantasy points from most tight ends. So right now, Bellinger available 99% of fantasy leagues. Last season as the starter in this offense, he was pretty decent until he got hurt as well with an eye injury, and then came back later in the season. So right now, this Giant team we know is decimated. Looks like DeVito is going to be their quarterback going forward unless they sign a veteran and get him in the starting lineup here before next Sunday's game versus the Dallas Cowboys. So right now, while Bellinger's out there 99% of fantasy leagues, and there's nothing going in this passing game I would give him an add this week with Waiver out. So that's a few tight ends I look to add off the wire for week 10 of the fantasy football season.